170 kilometers long, 500 meters tall, a mirror wall cutting through the Saudi Arabian desert. It's called the Line, and it promises to save humanity from car pollution and city sprawl. Zero carbon, no cars, everything you need in 15 minutes. Well, it looks like a utopian dream, but what if I told you that this sustainable megacity could kill thousands of species, displace indigenous people, and cost 8 trillion to build? Is the Line the future of cities, or the more expensive architecture mistake in history? I am Celine, an interior and building designer. Today I want to do something a little bit different with you. I'm going to show you my research and my honest thought about the Line, the flaws, the promises, the politics, and then I want to hear yours in the comment below. Because this project raises so many questions, so stick around and let me know in the comment below. Is the Line visionary or the most beautiful line? Because the marketing is gorgeous, the concept is bold, the promises are ambitious. Imagine a city with no car, no traffic, no pollution, where you can walk to everything you need in 5 minutes or take a high-speed train across the city in only 20 minutes. Mohammed bin Salman, the Prince of Saudi Arabia, says that this will fix everything wrong with modern cities, because most cities were built for machines during the Industrial Revolution and not for people. And the Line, it's built for people. But here's what kept me up at night. A 170 kilometer wall of mirror in the desert, creating heat zones that could kill everything around it, indigenous tribes that being chased from their own home, thousands of species that could die, and an 8 trillion price tag that keeps climbing. So the question is this actually sustainable, or is it just really good marketing? Is the Line genius or insanity? First, we need to understand what the Line actually is. It's part of NEOM, a massive development project in the Tabuk province of Saudi Arabia. NEOM includes resort, an airport, royal family estate, and all is connected to Riyadh, the capital. This comes from Saudi Arabia's wish to get away from the industry of oil that is in decline. They're trying to diversify into research, tourism, education, anti-aging technology, basically every industry of the future. And the Line is a crown jewel, the most heavily marketed part of the NEOM project. And what is happening is beautiful graphic, videos, render, all the marketing around this mega city. So what is the promise of the Line? So they want it to be zero carbon emissions, runs on 100% renewable energy. There is 3 levels. The ground level is a pedestrian park, trees, walking paths. The second level is a shop, services, commerces. And the third level, the highest, transportation, goods, the ultra-speed transit systems that connect the entire city. You can walk anywhere in 5 minutes, or you could take the train to cross the 170 kilometer cities in only 20 minutes. So no car, no traffic, then no pollution. And the footprint, just 34 square kilometers for 9 million people. That compared to the sprawling cities such as Los Angeles. Sound perfect, right? Well, except the initial budget was 500 billion. Then it go up to 1 trillion. Now they estimated to 8.8 trillion dollars. And I found out that the problem, they are not small. So let's dive in what the marketing isn't telling us. Flaw number 1 that I found out was the environment destruction, which is ironic to me. The Line market itself to be sustainable, zero emission, zero pollution, green, eco-friendly. But it's cutting 170 kilometer wall throughout the desert, a living ecosystem, cutting through wildlife migration. Most animals won't be able to do a detour of 170 kilometers, especially the weakest species. So that will eventually block genetic diversity, creating inbreeding in some species. And yes, it's a desert, but they also have a numerous amount of animal wildlife, insects, even plants. So here's my question. Can you call yourself sustainable while destroying an entire ecosystem? Or does a $1 trillion project that certainly has the best scientists, the best engineer, architects, any expert haven't thought about this obvious problem? The flaw number 2 was a mirror. The whole entire city will recover with a wall full of mirrors. I repeat, 170 kilometers long and 500 meters tall wall covered or reflective mirror in the middle of the desert. I suppose the idea of the reflecting wall was to merge into the environment to visually not obscure the scenery. In theory, it's a beautiful idea, but we are in the Saudi Arabian desert. I checked, and in summer the temperature could reach 50 degrees Celsius, which is 122 Fahrenheit, and go even higher. Do you see? There is an obvious flaw to me here. Those mirrors don't just reflect light and what's around them, they also reflect heat, creating two massive heat zones in each side of the city, hot enough to kill any living species going near this wall, including migratory birds. They will not only fly into the wall, but they will be cooked by it, like a roast chicken. That to me looks more like a death trap than a beautiful city. So basically it's building a sustainable, beautiful city that will be an oven for wildlife. Make it make sense, right? This one may be the most beautiful way to actually destroy an entire ecosystem. The third flaw is the impossible transportation. Let me explain. The line promises that you can travel from the beginning to the end of the line in only 20 minutes. That's 170 kilometers in 20 minutes. So I'm not an engineer, but I'm in my research, and let me tell you, that requires a train running at 510 kilometers per hour without the stops. The fastest trains on Earth is a Shanghai maglev that's running at 460 kilometers per hour, but the line has to stop. There will be stations for people to get in and get out. This means he has to accelerate and decelerate constantly. Can the human body even handle this? To maintain a 20-minute average across the 170 kilometer line with stops, you need a train hitting more than 600 kilometers per hour between each station. It's a maglev technology to a scale. We're talking hundreds of billions just for the train system. I don't know about you, but it feels to me a bit exaggerated. And that's not it. The line can't grow. This is a fundamental problem because cities grow. If the line succeeds, it will need to expand. 9 million people is great, but these 9 million people will have family, babies, people who want to invest in this city. So we will need to grow. That's what cities do. Paris, Barcelona, Los Angeles, or even Tokyo, they all sprout organically from the past centuries. They started small and expand. And if you watch all major cities in the world, they all look like a circle, more or less, because they start in the center and they grow around like this, which is the best way to actually extend a city. I mean, it's not secret that we have been doing this from centuries and centuries. It's because it's working. But the line, it's a line, so it can only grow in two directions, right? It can only go longer or perpendicular. The option one will be to extend the city at the end. Imagine now it will be 200 kilometers or even 300 kilometers, but at a certain point it will reach the end. So what will we do? Do we continue under the water? And the option number two will be to expand perpendicularly, but then we lose the idea of a line. It will be more like a cross or a star, and we will lose the entire concept. There is another option, is going up, but a 500 meter tall building is already pushing engineering to its limit. I love bold architecture and ideas, but bold doesn't mean smart in this case, because a city that can adapt, this isn't visionary, that's rigid. And there is another problem that every city has faced in history, it's a class separation. On the render we can see that the housing on the top are the ones that will receive a lot of light, daylight, instead of those in the bottom. So who will live in the top with more airflow, more daylight, and more views as well? I guess it's the wealthy, because it's gonna be the most expensive housing. And who will live in the middle with less daylight, less view? I guess the working class. And we know that daylight affects mental health, physical health, circadian rhythm, especially in a desert where you can't really go out for a walk in a 50 degrees Celsius heat. This is all the flow that actually came out while I was researching this concept of the lion. But I found some bonus concerns. The engineering nightmare. Can you imagine a 500 meter tall building that works as a city? How do you structure this? This is a massive engineering challenge for the ventilation, the mechanical systems. It's all at an unprecedented scale. And in the desert where the temperature goes really high, how do you cool this? How do you ventilate? I remember it's a 170 kilometer long enclosed space, and the top in the render looks open. So how do you keep all the greenery green, all the air breathable, because remember we are in the desert. That will be so much waste of energy to keep all this ecosystem alive. Another one is the pandemic concept. We all seen what happened with COVID-19 when you are in a dense city, in enclosed spaces. The line, it's very dense. It's mostly enclosed. It's a mega structure. So 9 million people in only 34 square kilometers in a sealed environment, one outbreak, and it's spread everywhere and fast. Then there is a displacement. And one question for me that maybe was the worst, can say that like that, is what about the people that are already living there? The Howeitat tribe has lived in the Tabuk province for centuries. NEOM is displacing thousands of people, and by force. I'm convinced they're not happy to be moving. Tribes usually are very fond of the tradition. They've been living like this for centuries and want to keep their identity alive. So if you displace them in modern buildings and other cities, they're gonna lose their identity and their land. So the real question is, with all those concerns and flaws that this project is facing, we can ask ourselves, what is the true purpose of the line? Is the real purpose of the line actually building this megacity? I mean, the environment destruction, impossible engineering, placement of people, the death of an ecosystem, etc., etc. Is the real purpose of the line building this megacity? Or is it to restore the image of Mohammed bin Salman and Saudi Arabia? Architecture has been used as politic propaganda for centuries. I cover this in the White House and the redesign of it. So if you're interested, I will link this video below. Louis XIV built Versailles. Dubai built Burj Khalifa. These weren't just buildings. Building a city from scratch is relatively new. We can connect the construction of Brasilia in Brazil to the line. The city was also emerging from an unusual plan and inhospitable environment as a new face of the country, coming away from the problems of the past and going towards the future. The line marketing is beautifully executed, looking like a movie. It looks incredible, the renders are gorgeous, and the concept is bold and new. And that could be enough if the goal isn't to build it. The goal could be to make you believe in Saudi Arabian visionary, forward-thinking, sustainable evolution. So let's answer the question from the beginning. Is the line utopian architecture or dystopian nightmare? For me, the line isn't about architecture, it's about marketing. It's a $8 trillion rendering design to make you believe in Saudi Arabia evolution. Visionary, sustainable, forward-thinking, and it's working. Everyone talk about it, and the promises are really seductive. But strip away the marketing, and what do you have? Environmental destruction disguised as sustainability, impossible engineering disguised as innovation, class division disguised as equality, and political propaganda disguised as progress. There are solutions for car pollution, urban sprawl, carbon emissions, better public transit, denser neighborhoods, mixed-use zoning, bikes infrastructure. Yes, they are boring, they are incremental, and they are not sexy, but they work and they are affordable. The line is $8 trillion. But the spectacle can replace planning. Honestly, I don't think the line will ever be finished, but I think at least it would be scaled back, reimaged, or quietly abandoned. But it's already succeeded to its real goal, rebranding Saudi Arabia. And that's maybe the genius of the line. But in my opinion, they do it wrong. If you want to go away from bad publicity of a country where human rights aren't a priority, you can use all this money, all this $1 trillion to actually repair the country your people are living in. It's not news that Saudi Arabian people are in demand of infrastructure. Some cities are really poor. They don't even have sewer systems. They don't have water. The infrastructure of the city are really basics. Why don't you use all these dollars you have to actually help your people building better cities that already exist to bring this sustainable, peaceful life to the actual people living in your country? So I think the idea that you want to show your country that is in evolution, getting better, why not? But doing it right. Doing it right for your people by helping them get the needs, the basic needs. Now I want to know your take. Let me know in the comment below. Do you think the line will be real? Or do you think, like me, it's mostly marketing? And would you live there? That's a great question. And what concerns you most about this project? Let me know in the comments below. I genuinely want to hear your perspective. Please tell stories if you know how to listen. If you want to learn this language with me, please like this video, share with a friend, subscribe to my channel, and let me know which space you want me to analyze next. Here's a video about Ex Machina, the most beautiful prison. I'm Celine, your space storyteller. See you next time.